from this world.
Alright guys, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super video here. Today we're going to be going over a deck profile for Syn Shenron for set 12. If you guys have been following Syn Shenron since he was released, Shin has been one of the best control leaders since his debut. And a lot of people were playing him during store championships, and even afterwards he has continued to get support every single set. His problem is right now is that aggro is just very, very strong, whether it's Red Broly, whether it's Dark Broly, whether it's Reboot Gohan or even Vegex. He finds himself in a predicament where he can't hit his cards early enough, or if he just gets a bad RNG when it comes to his draw and his mulligan. Syn Shenron is kind of on the back burner. My idea with this deck was to create a variant of the kind of the standard control deck that we see from Syn Shenron, and kind of add my own twist to it for set 12 that I think would make this particular variant of the deck better. I do have another version of Syn Shenron that I'm going to be releasing maybe next week that actually plays completely different than this one. So if you guys want to see that one, make sure you guys stay tuned to that. But we'll go right here into what the deck is. And this deck here operates, like I said, very similar to the current version of Syn Shenron. The only difference is we run a few different cards. If you guys know what the leader does when he swings, you search top 5 for Shadow Dragon, add it to your hand, and you can restand one of your Shadow Dragons, one of your yellow Shadow Dragons in your battle area at the end of every turn. The idea is people will play out the 9-drop here, and because he has blocker and revenge and stuff like that, they will play him, put him down, swing with them, restand him, and now you have this giant 30k card that has revenge and that's really difficult to get rid of. And your opponent really can't do anything about it. Unless they have some sort of board clear, they're just kind of stuck with it. So the idea of this deck is still kind of to play around the 9-drop, but now we also have thrown in the 7-drop, the Super Natron Dragon. So we'll start here at the top. The most notable one is going to be the Maki Cabra here. This is the 4-drop unison that you play, allows you to draw, helps you tap down in your opponent's cards. You also can steal cards later on in the game, which you can use for win conditions. And then our extra cards here, we run 4 Nimbus, 2 Release from Evil for most of the aggro matchups, and 1 Dragon Thunder. Now this card I think can be used very, very well in the next format, because this is a 0 costing activate battle or main. Where you can choose if your leader's a Shadow Dragon, you can choose up to one of your Shadow Dragon cards in the battle area or in the leader area, and it gets 5k for the turn. And then if you pay the energy cost to activate this card, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, one of your opponent's battle cards in their battle area, and negate its skills for the turn. So it says cards, so you also can choose field spells. So if your opponent is playing a field spell, you actually will be able to remove that card, its effects, at least for the turn. Now the special part about this card is that you can play it out for free if you have 3 or more energy in rest mode. So that is a pretty strong effect. So that's kind of all the extra cards we run. Now for the battle cards here, you see we run 4 of the 1-star and 4 of the 7-star. Now I don't really see a lot of people running the 7-star engine at all, and to me it's slightly confusing. I know Haze is a really good engine, but really all we care about is the 4-drop Haze, which we do run in the deck. But this engine here I think is really strong. So we'll first go through the 1-star, where you can play out a 3 or a 4-drop Syn Shenron, which we just run the 4-drop. We don't run the promo in this deck. This card allows you to, just a 19k blocker, can keep one of your opponent's battle cards or leader's cards in rest mode from attacking next turn. And then from that we go into the 9-drop, which is our big defensive play. Stops cards also when they come down, they get their skills negated for the turn, ignoring barrier. Gives you a lot of utility, and that's an auto, so if your opponent spams the board with a bunch of stuff, you can just negate their skills for the turn. So it does buy you a turn. From there, we then, like I said, we do play the 7-drop. I mean the 7-star ball, which allows us to go into the 2-drop Natron Shenron, the Terramancer, which this card is a 15k 2-drop that when this card attacks, you get to choose one Shadow Dragon from your drop area and put it at the bottom of your deck. This is good because one of the biggest problems I think with this deck is once the 9-drop gets removed, or if you're just not hitting the cards you need to, like if you're not hitting the 4-drops, because maybe you drew them all and they're all in your life. This allows you to keep refilling your deck with Shadow Dragons. And well, there's some other Shadow Dragons in this list that you want to put back into your hand or back into your deck so you can draw them again. Now, we run a 3-2 split of the Super Neutron Dragons. We run 3 of the 4-drop and 2 of the 3-drop. So the 2-drop is the promo. It is a double striker that evolves on top of the 2-drop for one yellow. And this card says, if your leader is yellow, when your opponent plays a battle card or unison, you may choose that card and switch it to rest mode. So once per turn, you basically have a free giant ball or a crusher ball, basically, that's played on the counter window 2, not the counter window 1. So it doesn't hit cards. It will hit cards with deflect, but yeah, it'll hit cards with deflect, but just not with barrier. But it's not on the play; it's after they're played, so their effect will still go off. But they'll at least go in rest mode, so that's actually pretty useful. And also, it's a 20k, it's a 15k double strike. Sorry, that the other one's a 20k. This one's a 15k double strike, so it's a really good pressure piece, especially with your leader ability. Once you can put this on the board later on, you just get a free 15k double strike later on. And then we run 3 of the 4-drop, which does the same thing, evolves on top of the 2-drop. And this one says, when this card is played, choose up to 3. Plays up to 3 Shadow Dragon cards from your drop rate at the bottom of your deck in any order, and this card gains dual attack for the turn. So this is really useful because we can put more Shadow Dragons into the bottom of our deck to help kind of fill our deck back up. It's going to be really good against the Shroom and Salsa deck that's going to be coming out that warps battle cards from the drop area. So this will allow us to just put cards back into our deck that we don't want them to be removed from the game. Going on from there, we have 2 Haze Dragons, which is the 4-drop. You say, well, why are you running the Haze if you don't have the 3-drop to evolve into, or even the 1-star ball? We're really playing it for the combo effect, which states if your leader is a Shadow Dragon, if you choose this card, this card's attacking or is being used in a combo. If you discard another Shadow Dragon from your hand, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode with a greater energy cost than their current energy and KO it. So for Dark Broly, for the 6-drops, but also for Red Broly, and any card that your opponent's playing that is bigger than their current energy. So any arrival cards, any just big boss, evolved boss monsters, any SCRs, as long as you don't have barrier and your skills aren't negated, you can send this card and another card from your hand and just KO it. So this is just a combo piece, and because this is the reason why we're running the Neutron Dragon archetype, is because those cards allow us to put cards back into our deck, and this card basically takes out 2 cards out of our hand. So we want to use this and then swing with this, or play this, and now we can put those cards just right back into our deck. And the other thing about the Super Neutron Dragon, the 4-drop, is that it does gain dual attack. So this is a really good card just to be able to, whether it's swing at your leader twice, or we can use it to help kind of pop unisons a little bit. So here we're getting into some of the newer stuff. We have the Syn Shenron Swift Spirals, which is it's a 2-drop. It's a very interesting card. When I first saw it, I'm like, wow, this card's kind of useless. Why would you run this card? And then I saw the auto effect, and then it made a lot of sense to me. So auto, you have to burst 1, and if you're lead to the Shadow Dragon and it's your opponent's turn, when this card is using the combo from your hand, choose up to 1 Shadow Dragon in your battle area and switch it to active mode. So this is basically a replacement for the Zarbon card that people have been using that came out in set 1. And this card is better because it is searchable from your leader. So that's the big thing. This is searchable from your leader. You can put this card back into your deck from the Neutron Dragon combos, from whether it's from the 2-drop swinging or from the 4-drop just on playability. That's a really, really good effect. The bursting also, because you have to burst 1, which is why we're playing the Neutron Dragons, because we have to burst in order to play it. So we're dropping a card from our deck, and then this card from our hand, and we can use this card to pick it back up, put it at the bottom of our deck, and then we can use our leader to possibly draw those. The other one is going to be the 4-drop Oceanus Shenron, the Animancer, I think is what it's called. And this is a 4-drop 20k barrier blocker. The auto says when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. If the card you switch to rest mode has a 2 energy cost of 2 or less, KO it. It's a pretty useful effect, but we really like this for the activate main. So this card says activate main, burst 1, drop this card, search top 5 cards from your deck, add up to 1 mono yellow Shadow Dragon with energy cost of 8 or less to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. This is really good because it's a 0 cost searcher. So if you don't hit any of your balls, if you want to search out your secret rare, if you want to search out your evolve pieces, your second, your final stage evolve pieces, you can use this card to do that for free. So I have it as a 2 of with the Ice Shenron, which is the counterplay that came out in the last set, in set 11, and it's a really good counterplay. It hits anything that's just hits any card as long as it doesn't have barrier and just puts it in rest mode. Or you can discard this card from your hand for 1 yellow and then play a 1-drop Shadow Dragon from your deck with the skills negated for the turn. So this is also another card you can use to, if you brick your first hand, as long as you have one of these, you probably have a chance of hitting those. So I put them at a 2-2 split. You can play this one at 3 and this one at 1. You put this one at 3, this one at 1. It's completely up to you and probably will change as we see the meta going into set 12. I may switch these around a little bit. 3 of the Vegeta counterplays, because it's a pretty decent card. You can probably cut one of these, potentially put another one of these 2 dragons in the deck. 4 super combos. I pick the Jocko ones just because it's energy cost of, you have to have 4 life or less. The Krillin ones from last set are pretty good as well. You can bottom deck 1 to draw 2. That's also a very good super combo. Or you can just use Zamasu. That's also another option as well. It just completely depends on preference there, because we're not running a rival in this deck, so we don't absolutely need Zamasu. And then our secret rare is going to be the Syn Shenron secret rare. Gets reduced for every 1 cost you have in the deck or in the drop area. It comes in, has deflect. It can't be removed from your opponent's skills. Giant 35k blocker, and you can restand it with your leader, and you can search it out with the 4-drop Ocean's Dragon. And we can also use our if it does get removed for some reason, we can use the Pan-Absorbed Super Neutron Dragon to bring it back to our deck, and then we can end up drawing it again. So the idea of this deck is just, to keep things out of the drop area, just keep cycling dragons back into the deck. Now obviously you kind of have to be cautious, because you want to eventually keep some dragons in the drop area in order to use your leader ability. But you can kind of do that as the game goes on. You want to put dragons in there when you want to. You want to be able to play out most of them during the game just to keep your curves going. And then once you hit 6, you can just drop everything in the drop area and then just, tap 6. So this is the Syn Shenron deck. 54 cards, no side deck, just because side deck's really going to depend on what the meta is. So hopefully you guys like this style of video. I will be releasing another Syn Shenron deck in the next week or so that's very different from this. This is just my take on what I think the main set 12 control version of this deck will play as. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.